Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Gul Knowledge Hub. Welcome my YouTube family to your own channel, which is Gul Knowledge Hub. Today's topic is the most debated topic, and the name of topic is Think in English and Speak Confidently. Do you struggle while thinking in English? Because this is the problem of most of the English learners. They feel frustrated, they feel embarrassed when to think in English. And I know that most of the English learners, they get used to translation. They do a lot of translation, but the problem arises here is that when you translate a lot, your speaking is not natural, your speaking is not effortless, your speaking is not automatic. It becomes slow. It becomes difficult for you to translate first in your mother tongue and then to translate in English language. The second problem, the most important problem which you have to deal at your first priority. And what is that? Most of the English learners, why they feel embarrassed, why they feel overwhelming, is that due to the fact that they think about English. They don't think in English. Have you analyzed that? Do you think in English or do you think about English? There is a hell of difference between these two categories. Most of the English learners, why they feel trouble, why they are in the hot water, is that they are thinking about English rather than thinking in English. Now, what is thinking about English? When I say that you are thinking about English, I mean to say that you are thinking about grammatical rules. You are thinking about your mistakes. You are thinking about the wrong verb which you have used in your last conversation. You are thinking about your own mistakes. It means that you have used a wrong tense, that you have used a wrong verb or an irregular verb. It means that you are thinking about English language, but you are not thinking in English, which is the requirement of English language. Now, what is thinking in English? What happens when you think in English? All your thought process, what you are thinking, all your thought process are you are thinking in English now. You are not doing your translation. You are not overwhelming. You are not embarrassed. You don't feel difficulty. You are thinking in English. Your thought process, your thoughts, your ideas, your information are in English. And words are coming out naturally. When you think in English, most of the native speakers, they think in English, and what is the outcome? When they think in English, their speaking is natural, automatic, effortless, and it's like a flowing water. It doesn't feel any kind of difficulty. So the question arises here that how do you develop thinking in English? I will discuss two methods and how can you achieve that. Because this is the problem, that we are always learning or we are always thinking about English language. We are not thinking in English language. Now it's the high time to think about in English. Now thinking in English is deeply connected with deep learning. You don't have deep learning. And this idea is connected towards your immersion. Because immersion, the real meaning of immersion means that underwater. For example, just imagine that you are in the water. You are surrounded by the water. Your next is water. Your front is water. And you are surrounded by all water. And water is up, water is down, water is everywhere. Wherever you see, wherever you look, you see the water. It means it is the real meaning of immersion. And when we take this immersion to English language, it means that you are always surrounded by English language. And do you think that you are surrounded by English language? You are listening a lot in English language. You are watching a lot in English language. But if you don't understand, What is the use of that immersion? Then how can you develop this thinking in English? Because this is the major problem, and I want to cope with this problem. I want to make a solution for all my English learners. And here I have come up with this solution with two methods. The number one method is high frequency words. Most of the English learners, what they do in real life, they try to learn, they try to memorize a lot of new words. There is active vocabulary and there is passive vocabulary. Active vocabulary is always limited. Active vocabulary is the words which you can use in your daily life without any effort, without any struggle. And passive vocabulary is those kind of words when you see in the book, when you see in the newspaper, or when you hear or when you listen in any kind of news or podcast, you remember the meanings, but you can't actually use them in your real life. Now the problem here arises that most of the English learners, they try to use too much complicated, too much vocabulary in their talking, in their speaking, and their whole concentration, their whole focus is on utilizing all the vocabulary which they have memorized. So what is the solution? Solution is to use the high frequency words. High frequency words means the most commonly used words in English. Yes, you don't need the PhD version of vocabulary. You don't need the most difficult, the high 5 words. No, you only require the high frequency, the most repetitive, the most common used words in English to speak out, to convey your ideas. This is number one principle. And how can you use all those high frequency, the most common used words? By the rule of repetition. Yes, repetition, but remember, dear audience, you don't have to repeat in the traditional way, because traditional way is boring, it's not entertaining. There are grammar rules. Remember what you are doing in your school. You are remembering, you are cramming a lot of grammar rules, but in the traditional ways, and you are always half sleepy. You are always not active, not concentrating. You are not concentrating on the subject. You are get bored. That's the reason. Now you have to repeat all those words, the high frequency, the most commonly used words, but which is the method which is lively, which is entertaining, and which is the most progressive method, by which you don't get bored, but you become enthusiastic. Do you know when you get bored, what is the outcome of that boring? You lose your interest, you lose your motivation. So what is the solution? What is the entertaining or lively method? The entertaining or the lively method is through mini stories. They are silly, they are unnatural, they are entertaining, they are full of entertainment. And when you study and you read a lot of mini stories like turtle, like the turtle and rabbit story, and there are so many kids stories, and through kids stories you read them many times as you want, and you get the enjoyment. And when you get the enjoyment, the phrases, the words, the vocabulary, even the pronunciation stuck to your mind. This is the beauty of mini stories. I highly recommend that go towards the mini stories so that you can get the highly frequency words used in your life. The number 2 method, repetition is not enough. By number 2 method, only repetition is not enough. What you have to do, if you repeat the word in the same sentence, if you repeat the word in the same grammar rule, you get bored. You have to repeat the same word in different perspective, in different situations, in different grammatical rules. For example, you have read one word in present tense. Now you have to read the second time the same word in past tense in different kind of situation. In this way, you are repeating the words, but you are not getting bored and the words are sticking to your mind. And in this way, you are getting and you are accumulating the high frequency words in your vocabulary. And in this way, what is the outcome? You will speak confidently, your words will be powerful, and you are not thinking about English, you will think in English. That's the outcome of this video. If you understand this video, please like, share and subscribe the channel and hit that bell icon, because it motivates me to make this video, a lot of videos. Till the next video, stay happy, stay blessed. Thank you so much. Have a